So I just finished watching the movie Frankenstein on Netflix. And let me start by saying that the film is good. I will precede all of this I want to say by starting off by saying that the film is good. But do you know who I blame? I blame the people that were doing the press and everybody in the press that said, "Oh, brace yourself for this. It's very dark, it's very horror, it's more horrific. Oh, you don't even know what is coming." I will never say any of that. I would say if you watch like any sort of like modern film type of like thriller horror any kind of vibe, you'll be fine. Like it's not like the movie is so like, oh my god, I put my hand over my mouth or I was completely shocked. It's a fine film. Like it's cool. I don't, do you know what I mean? I really entered this movie, I was anticipating it so much because of the hype around it, and I won't lie to you, after finishing it I was like, that was a nice film. Like if I didn't enter with any expectations, maybe I would have even appreciated and loved it more because it's cool. It's a cool film. I have notes to talk about and some things I have to laugh about, and I've written them all down, but I don't want to give you any spoilers. But before we get into spoilers, let me just say two things that they are non-spoiler things I want to talk about. Number one, isn't it wild that public hangings used to be a thing? Like now in 2025, it's even bizarre that like we can see people just getting like literally unalived on social media. Like you can open your phone and just see it. And even that is so like, oh my God, like it's very pearl clutching as it should be, because even for me, that is like a lot. I can never watch something like that or like even see like that. But the fact that once upon a time, people just gathered around executions. Like it was, oh, they're doing an execution down the road. Do you want to come and watch? And people just said, yeah, what am I doing this afternoon? Let me go and watch people get executed. Just beheaded, axed, hung. People were just getting executed as like public. It's actually wild to think about. The final thing I want to say before I get into spoilers is, and if you know anything about the Frankenstein story, of course, it's just really if somebody was to take all the body parts of somebody else, like Frankenstein does, which is not a spoiler because that is the whole. If you don't know at this point, I don't know what to tell you. Know what I mean? But if you take all the body parts, really, where is the soul? Where does the soul then come from in this unholy apparition? Question to ponder on. And with that, let's jump into spoilers so I can tell you my thoughts with actual spoilers. Spoilers ahead. The first thing that I wrote was I did not know that Frankenstein is Wolverine. I didn't know that Frankenstein is Superman. I did not enter this thinking I'm about to be watching Frankenstein literally having super strength, indestructible. I said, I didn't know that that's the kind of Frankenstein that we are getting. Then I wrote that Victor dismembering people, like actually when you think it's really disgusting, vicious, like it really takes a monster to do what he's doing, like dismembering cadavers, putting them together in this unholy fashion. Like it's actually kind of wild and evil and demonic. Like it's wild to do. It's actually a very wild thing to do. Then I asked the movie asked a question that's very important, which is the dream you're pursuing. What comes at the end of it, and do you know like what comes after? Because we see that Victor really has to grapple with when he finally gets what he wants. He now realizes, wait, I don't even know what am I really doing here, and that leads me directly into Victor's one of the biggest problems that Victor has is he's not a father. He doesn't have a paternal gene, and it shows in how he treats Frankenstein, because this movie really is child abuse. When you think about this film, it's child abuse. Frankenstein was literally essentially a child, like practically a newborn, and the father is abusing him. But then when I see that paternal lineage, because even Victor's own father too, mess, also had big expectations, and Victor too didn't like his father. His father had all these expectations on him too. Very, continuing the lineage of the Frankenstein name. What a mess. The other thing I wrote was that Jacob Elordi's acting was really good in this. Like his eyes, he really did something with the eyes. But speaking of Jacob Elordi and like the Frankenstein as the monster, I said this Frankenstein is like the Neo song "Beautiful Monster," because I said that this guy Frankenstein, if this was more true to form, obviously we have to suspend disbelief for what we are watching for the whole story. You know what I mean? But like specifically, if somebody has really been amalgamating body parts into a new being, the way that Frankenstein's scars healed, when I tell you that when Frankenstein was standing in the daylight, I said, this one a beautiful monster, because you don't look bad. You don't even look grotesque at all. Like the scars healed very nicely, glassy skin. I said, what is, what is going on? What is your skincare routine, Frankenstein? You know what I mean? Then I wrote that Frankenstein get time for story. When he's been trying to find Victor in the boat scene and he now finally opens the door and he's like, and then the sailor, Abi, whoever that man is, now says whatever he says. like your master has already told me your story, and then Frankenstein is like, oh, my master has already told his tale. Now let me tell my tale. I said, oh, this man get time. I thought you were a man on a mission, so you get time to come the gist. Huh? Interesting. Then speaking of Frankenstein, I said, of course, now woman name you go fit pronounce. When the Victor has been asking you say any other thing, give me something. Victor, Victor, Victor. Now woman don't come. Elizabeth. I say, see you. Frankenstein, we know you. We know you. Then I said, not Victor really blaming every single thing on Frankenstein. Victor was a mess. He blamed the uncle's death on Frankenstein, blamed the niece's death on Frankenstein. Yeah. Then my question, which grammar school will Frankenstein go? Which grammar school? Because now that peeping through the whole way he started to learn certain words. But by the time he even meets the old man, the man is speaking to him in English. And Frankenstein, they understand that, understand that quick. I said, who taught you English, Frankenstein? Who taught you English? Even when I think the Elizabeth was talking to him and stuff, it seems like he was understanding English. So I said, which grammar school will you go? I would like to know. And that reading that the old man was teaching him how to read and all that, I guess that's how he learned most of the English, but it seemed like he knew English before. Which grammar school will you go, Frankenstein? I would like to know. The other thing I wrote was Frankenstein was really going from trauma to trauma. From coast to coast, now trauma where they follow this Frankenstein. Whoa, I felt for him. And I said that Victor really truly at the end of the day is the monster. Like Victor was a mess. Yikes. And then finally, not Frankenstein now having everlasting life and having to just live for the rest of his life just like this. That is actually disgusting, demonic, evil, wild. Like, I too would be on a revenge journey if I was him because you cannot be serious. I didn't ask to be here. Even at least as human beings, sometimes when people can say, oh, I wasn't asked to be brought into this world. At least, as Frankenstein is saying, people have the luxury, in his case, of death. But really, when you were amalgamated and you cannot not even be destroyed, so you're just now a living form, and you're alive, but you can never go, and your life is just miserable. What kind of I know Victor did that boy wicked thing. Victor really did that boy evil thing. Chai. Overall, I really enjoyed the movie. I liked it. It's just that I wish maybe if I'd entered with like less expectations and without all of the you brace yourself, it's gonna be oh my god. This film is really great and it's a nice film, a fantastic film. But if you've watched it, please tell me if do you agree or not. I feel like this film is fine. Like it's not a film that blew me out of the water. Like obviously on the visual level, all of that on the filmmaking level, it is amazing. But just in terms of my feelings after watching, I don't feel like my life has been transformed or this was a film that like, oh my god, movie of the year for me. It's not, and I'm curious to know what you think about it. If you've been watching this whole video and you have no idea who I am, my name is VDK. I make movie bingo cards, which you can find on my Substack, vdkfilmclub.substack.com, and I talk about films. Until the next film that I watch and the next video that I make, have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.